Record, I can say that again. Beautiful. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coping with Chaos and Uncertainty for Canadian Mining Companies. This is a celebration of the International Day of Women in Mining, hosted by the Artemis Project. So if you're here with us live, we are so grateful for your time. Thank you for being with us. We're going to give you a bit of an understanding of what we do here at the Artemis Project and also reflect a little bit on some of the themes that we're seeing in the mining industry. As you may know, Artemis is a social enterprise. We're a collection of women-owned businesses serving the mining industry. And I have amazing speakers here, as well as our co-founder, Heather, ready to speak with you this morning to give you a sense of what we do and also highlight some solutions and some insights that we see from our many years within the mining industry. So my name is Erica. I lead the Canadian chapter for the Artemis Project, and I'm really, really pleased to be your host, your facilitator today. I do have most of the speakers here with me, which is wonderful. But before we get into their introductions and setting the stage for the larger event, we wanted to do our land acknowledgement. So those of you who have been with Artemis for a little while may know that we have within our membership an Indigenous woman who is a woman in mining. She's an entrepreneur. She does so many amazing things. She's an artist. She's a first responder. She's a seasoned leader. And she is also the owner of Diamonds in the Rough, which is a group that trains women to participate in mine rescue. So if you can imagine anything more inspiring than these women in their gear, competing in these international competitions against all these other teams that are pretty much all men, and really, holding their own and contributing to the broader picture of the international mine rescue scene. They've been doing this for years. Her name is Carrie Lentowitz. You may know her. She is one of our longtime Artemis members. And unfortunately, you may be following the news in this about the Saskatchewan wildfires. I know she won't mind us sharing because she did post about it on LinkedIn that her home was one of the homes that burned down in her small town in the north of Saskatchewan. So we were not able to have Carrie with us live this morning. But Carrie, our hearts are with you. We are thinking of you and your family as you navigate what is a very, very challenging time. Her small town of Denari Beach, Saskatchewan, 24 of the 29 homes in that small town were lost to fire. So they are very much in their own moment of chaos and uncertainty there. And our hearts certainly go out to them and wish them a lot of safety and support and taking care of each other. So we will be mounting a formal effort on behalf of Artemis to support Carrie and the others in her community to do some direct ways of showing up for each other, because that's what we do here. We are a group of entrepreneurs and we are a community. We are a little bit like family in that we look out for each other and see each other through the ups and downs. So one of the ways that I'm going to honor Carrie is to give a meaningful land acknowledgement. I know it's something we do as part of our routines now, and rightly so. We need to do that formality of acknowledging the land. And we also want to go further into true reconciliation. And one of the ways that Carrie taught us to do that is by speaking from the heart and not necessarily from a script. And so what I'm going to say is I just attended the closing ceremony of my daughter's school, and they did a land acknowledgement, these kids that are 6 and 7 years old. And the wording that they used was so beautiful. It said, "We acknowledge that Indigenous people throughout history have not always been treated very well. People took their land and tried to take their language and their culture, and that was wrong. And we are committed to doing better." And I thought that was just a really very succinct, very accurate way to encapsulate this journey of reconciliation. It's not easy. It's extremely complex. It's something that we may struggle with a little bit emotionally and logistically, but it's so important to show up in those ways. And we at Artemis are committed to doing that. So I personally acknowledge I'm on the beautiful land that is currently known as Waterloo, Ontario, which is the traditional and unceded territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. And if you would like to do your own acknowledgement of the original people in the chat, you are very welcome to do so, because we feel that our connection to the land, our connection to nature, it's part of where we get our energy, it's part of where we get our inspiration. And of course, in mining, it's where we get our wealth and our resources. So it's so important to pay tribute to the land and to honor it and respect it. and thinking about another thing that Carrie taught us is that Indigenous culture, Indigenous ways of knowing, they look back for 7 generations and they look forward for 7 generations. So we're always looking with that big picture in mind, not just what do we need to do day to day, but what is the right thing to do by our communities, by our families, and by all of our partners in business. So that serves as our land acknowledgement. Thank you everyone so much for being here. I'm going to take a quick breath and we're going to switch gears. I would love to hand the mic to Heather if you want to just formally say hello, Heather, or informally say hello, as the case may be, before I introduce all of our speakers.
Thank you, Erica. That was beautiful. And Carrie would love that. Absolutely beautiful. And so on behalf of all of our Artemis member businesses, on behalf of the Artemis team, all of us that are in this together, we really, really appreciate the time that you're taking to come and spend time getting to know us. And like Erica says, we're in this for the long run. We've started Artemis about 6.5 years ago, and we've really come a long way, and there's a lot more work to be done. But that being said, we're really, really thrilled to say that Artemis Project is leading what's known as gender responsive procurement. So, and what that means is opening up that supply chain to making it leveling opportunities and bringing in underrepresented businesses, of which we know women-owned businesses are actually part of the 1% club. But it's a 1% club that whereby in the supply chain, there's less than 1% of procurement with women-owned businesses. So that's just a little bit of context. We're really, really excited to be here with you live, with you in the recordings, watching after. And I'd just like to emphasize that, or say, you know, we participate in some fantastic events, as probably all of you have for this week so far. What Artemis is bringing you is what, you know, we refer to as raw. It's unscripted, it's not produced, it's conversation. And it's conversation with these amazing women-owned businesses, the business owners, and the work that they're doing in mining, and seeing the impact they're making in their respective areas. We all know, yes, it's uncertain, yes, there's chaos. In fact, I think life is always full of chaos and uncertainty, but it seems really dialed up because we're all so connected now, and it's in your face all the time. So how do we take that in our respective areas and harness that and really optimize that in mining? So that's what you're going to hear about today. And you're going to hear again from these women-owned businesses that bring a different perspective, and they bring an innovative perspective. And they're here because they found a problem that they want to solve. And there's no lack of problems. And really, problems are what? Problems are opportunities. So thank you for being with us today, exploring opportunities that maybe you're going to spark some synergy, might not, might spark some now, might spark some down the road. But thank you so much for opening up and spending time with Artemis Project women-owned businesses. And back over to Erica, who's going to begin our show.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Heather. I always get so much energy from hearing you talk about this subject. And as having been, you know, working side by side with you on the team at Artemis for almost 3 years now, I always feel so lucky. I feel like I have a front row seat to the most interesting shows. Nothing on Netflix compares, in my opinion, to the work and the impact and the stories that Artemis members are weaving with their mining clients and with their collaborative partners. It's just amazing. And you're going to see what I'm talking about when we get started. So I'm going to run through the whole list of speakers so you get a sense of what's going to happen today. And if you're able to stay live for the whole thing, we love that. If you keep us on in the background while you're doing other things, that's fantastic. We are going to be taping each one of our talks so that you can catch it later and you can really listen in with your full attention, because these speakers are just a wealth of knowledge and insight and wisdom, really, as it applies to mining and to industry. So first of all, we're going to be checking in with Amanda, who is going to be speaking about trauma responsive leadership and trauma responsive cultures in mining. Maybe you don't know what that is. That's okay. We're going to unpack that and give you a sense of what that is and why it's so important. Emily Thorne Corthay, one of our longtime members, she's going to speak specifically about supply chain resiliency against two very big forces that are happening right now. I'm sure we're all going to be speaking about the tariffs, the T word. I think that's going to come up lots today as one of the driving forces of the uncertainty that we're experiencing right now. And of course, in the background, we've got the climate change issues and the risks ongoing as sort of a backdrop. So she's going to unpack a lot of that from her expert lens. So you don't want to miss that. Catherine Jodar is with us. She is a very enthusiastic and experienced communication professional who's going to talk about why resilient communication is so important in this era, maybe more than ever. You know, it's great to talk about the technology and the technical things and having all of that dialed in, and how communication is sort of the glue that holds all that together. Next, we're going to speak with Cheryl Blair. She has a very good play on words in the title of her talk, which we always appreciate. Digging deeper than ore, how are we going to make our people safe in the mind, physically, and what does that mean? How do we do that at a time like this? Tiffany Connaughton is going to turn our lens toward the internal pieces of resilience and chaos, maybe not so much in the outside in the market, but really what's going on within the hearts and minds of people, and how does that play out across the organization. And, you know, we're used to hearing the word disruption. We hear it a lot. And a lot of the time we're talking about AI, or we're talking about some other type of technology or external thing. She's going to turn our lens on that in a very different way. And we're so excited to hear her thoughts. We've got Susan Lomas with us. She is the founder of the original organization called Me Too Mining, currently known as Mindshift, and she is going to talk about a speak up culture and how that plays a part in ensuring resiliency and safety, despite whatever chaos might be playing out across the industry and within our companies. And then last but not least, we're going to circle back around to Heather, who you just heard from, and she is going to tell us about a brand new thing that Artemis has been cooking up, actually been working on for quite a long time now. We're ready to unleash it and share it with the world. This is a really amazing opportunity to get an understanding and to partner with Artemis if that's something that you're interested in. So can't wait to hear about the revolution that mining needs now and the solution that Artemis has been working on in order to bring that to bear. Okay, so when you're ready, Sandra, we can reset